Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of Behind the Booster vlog. My name's Eddy, owner of Eddy's Emporium. We're a TCG store based in the north of England. And yeah, following on from last week, just going to give you a brief update of kind of what's happened so far, my thoughts on kind of the progress, the business, and anything and everything TCG. So the sales update, we've got about 11 orders even today to fulfill, which is great. Obviously, if you think about it on a very small scale, yeah, we're not breaking the bank in terms of like record sales across comparing to other businesses, but in terms of the start of business, I'm really happy with that, and that takes us to roughly around, hang on, I got the figure here, about 86 orders this month, which is great. It's probably the highest order in terms of volume this month, maybe not the most profitable, but it's a really good sign of people starting to kind of trust the brand, buy back into it, and like I said last week, we get starting to get some repeat buyers. So yeah, obviously it's everyone needs to do it, self-assessment. I need to start getting into a process of reviewing my sales data on a monthly basis, just allocating it out and maybe putting money to aside for the eventuality, which will be my in the UK, my self-assessment, which is our tax return on a yearly basis, just so I know where I stand with what I owe the government, obviously in terms of the profit there. Now, my business model, and I mentioned it last week, is to not have to legally pay any tax, so all my profits are just going to be spent on assets for the business. So if you think about it in that sense, whether that, stock, equipment, anything and everything to make my business grow, I want to be able to not have to let the government take that money and have it for a business. If you are starting out a small business, I'd probably recommend you do the same, but also don't take my word as gospel. I'm a new business, I'm still learning too, so that's just a general thought of mine. It's a general goal, but it's usually widely supported by kind of like HMRC and other businesses too. But yeah, by doing it on a monthly basis with my kind of, where I stand, it's going to give me a really easy self-assessment when I need to kind of submit it October, January time, when I need to get the figures kind of finalized. Along with my usual orders from Japanese products, that'll be coming in shortly, within the next week or so. I ordered some SP sign cards, and for people that obviously are Pokemon UK, Yu-Gi-Oh centric, they're kind of like Weiss, Schwarz, and Union Arena. The voice actors of specific anime characters, if you've got an anime orientated set, will sign the card, or it'll be like a hot stamp of their signature, and they hold quite high value. If you were to kind of draw a comparison, if you imagine like a One Piece manga rare, it kind of feels quite akin with that kind of level of rarity. You can get cards that are that art but don't have the signature, and then you kind of hit that signature, and it's kind of roughly the same rarity in terms of a signed SP card being within a case or something like that. Obviously it varies. So my thought was I'll buy a few of them from Japan. Again, like ones that I do sell well, and I think that I can buy at a price in which I can make money off, but also potentially grading some of them SP cards later down the line when I kind of feel that I've got some money to throw either to PSA, Ace, MGC, whatever kind of grading company I think is most viable for that kind of test. And then obviously if there is a market for it in the UK, I think that's probably a better way than kind of breaking into my own product and trying to get them cards there. If you think about that, one SP card every 12 like boxes, some of them I don't even have 12 boxes for, so it's just pointless. We're just looking at suppliers and things like that. The Japanese market seems to be slowing down a tiny bit, and I think that obviously could be parodying America and the tariffs coming in. Now that's obviously not to say that it's definitely not. I don't have my fingers not on the pulse to that extent, but definitely the way that you kind of see some of the YouTubers and business owners that are over in America that deal in Japanese, they definitely are putting out videos that aren't kind of warning, but they're kind of sort of saying, hang on guys, we're going up by 15% means you're going to pay more. And I think that's probably just having a bit of like an effect on the market. It's going to be like stabilizing for a bit while people kind of just think it's market prices changing and kind of going like, oh, they're overcharging. They're probably just going to adjust to that new thing. And that does kind of lead into that thing, because America obviously is, you know, the majority of money within the world kind of goes through America. I wonder if that's going to have a effect on the global prices of Pokemon because of that. Or alternatively, you might see Americans or smaller businesses in America pull back from Japanese product, meaning that the cost might go down. You know, we don't really know how it's going to work long run, but my gut feeling, knowing Pokemon, at the moment it probably will lean into the higher side and going up, because if you're a business in Japan, it's kind of a free price increase, a free profit margin, you know, roll, just because, oh, you know, America's doing it, so we're just putting up prices to accommodate. And I think the rest of the world might see that kind of just impact them a tiny bit from a business perspective and consumer, because usually the cost gets passed on to the buyer eventually. And yeah, I've finally started getting back into the rhythm of adding stuff to my website. So there's more singles and things like that coming onto my website. I've started looking into and learning a bit more about SEO, and just kind of going back and revisiting some listings I've already got, like more listings that, you know, booster packs and things like that can be repetitive and yield higher search ratings and results on Google and other search engines. So that's quite exciting. It's nice to be able to feel back in the swing of things. And on obviously the Japanese note, in terms of stock, I think I need to buy some more PRB02, or at least buy some. I don't have any yet, just because my last order, it wasn't out. So while that's on the way, I'm going to purchase some more, probably tomorrow or in the next couple of days, just so it goes into my website, so we can start getting some booster packs and some booster boxes available for you to buy, which is going to be quite exciting. PRB01 is, you know, one of the favorites of the Japanese set, because obviously the amount of hits you get in one pack is a lot better than the kind of 5 cards that you get in a obviously standard Japanese pack. On an English front, I got some good pre-orders in place. They'll be coming out over the next 3 months or so, and that'll kind of like, I'm starting to tie into that, you know, starting to get my pre-orders in earlier with the current English distributor, so the flow of stock, or at least the access to the stock, is starting to come a bit more real time for my business, which is really exciting. So just to name a few while I'm looking at my phone, you know, we've got the new Lorcana set, Yugioh set coming out, the Girls Band Cry set, and obviously the MG Magic the Gathering Spider-Man set that will be coming out later this year. And a general update on me, I've been struggling back and forth to be, I mean, everyone will be able to relate to this, you know, fitness, you know, over the past year or so, I've really been struggling to get back into the swing of fitness, and it's obviously impacted my confidence, and you know, like anyone, you know, when you are trying to do that, you know, you're not feeling like yourself, and you're always drawing a comparison against that previous version of yourself, or version of the self that you want to be. So over the past 4 or 5 months, I've been starting to get back into running and fitness again, which is nice. It started to boost my confidence. It's also a really nice break from my 9 to 5, and then I'll do like a run or go to the gym, and then I'll start kind of my, you know, 5 to 11 Eddy's Emporium and doing all the changes there. It's a really nice way to kind of diffuse, get out, touch some grass, because one thing I always hated was with the gym, I work remote for my 9 to 5 job. You're in a little box, you walk 2 minutes or 3 minutes or however long it takes to get to the gym, and then you go into another little box, and then you go back to your box to do your 5 to 11. And it really felt like I wasn't getting out, seeing the world. It felt like I was always kind of in between 4 walls, and I didn't like it, and I hate running. But it has been a real set, like, it's really given me a sense of getting out there, being able to, you know, just be outside, be in my own head, don't need to wait for someone to be finished on a machine. And I was terrible at running. I think the first time I did like 2k, paused for a bit. I was basically wheezing, and then went and kind of just did a 5k. My general goal is like, do a 5k. It doesn't matter if you finish it or you don't finish it, or sorry, you finish it running, or you have breaks in between. And now eventually I'm getting into obviously regularly running. Finish 5k now, which is nice. I think cardio is one of the nicest ones that you feel the quickest progression with. So that's nice for me. I'm starting to feel a bit more in my own body now, and that's really nice. In terms of energy levels, still some burnout happening around Eddy's head. It's nice though, because bit by bit every weekend feel like I'm getting some more energy levels. I'm still a bit exhausted, because if you're doing something like this, or in general if you're just busy every week, which I am. I think I've got something in every weekend pretty much till October now. And when you're kind of juggling things like you are with a new job, it's exhausting. And so I'm really going to start trying to work in some, I call it rest weekends, but it's really just time where I can have back for myself with my partner, make content for you. It's so difficult to kind of feel motivated or feel creative when you are like at such low levels. So that's on my kind of bingo list for the next few weeks at least. Start booking out in advance. And obviously you get coming up to Christmas period, and your boy's 30 this year. In December I turned a big 3-0, so I'm quite excited about that though, because it feels like the start of something rather than the end of my 20s, which I think is the most daunting feeling. I think when I turn 30, nothing will obviously actually change, but I've got my entire 30s to look forward to, rather than feeling that there's a scramble to finish my 20s. But yeah, I think that's kind of just a brief update for this week. I'll try and keep these as short and snappy as possible, because you don't want to hear me ramble for 20 minutes at a time. But it's lovely to kind of be able to share these updates with you and let you know what's going on in my life, and obviously it also gives you a bit of an idea of who packs your boxes, your packages. And yeah, if you found anything useful, or you want to just chat in the comment section, just leave a comment, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Oh yeah, check out Eddys Emporium for all your cool trading card and goodie needs. There'll be a deal on next week. Use Goofy Goober to get 5% off your order site-wide on eddysemporium.co.uk. So check out there. Ciao.